All right, Nightwish fans, you know what's going on. You all said that I reacted to the wrong version of Ghost Love Score first over here on YouTube. So I listened already through to the Wacken 2013 performance over on Patreon and did a little bit of a comparison to the overall track and kind of tried to analyze why the Wacken performance is so much more sought after in the community than the original performance. And I checked that out on the track and I came up with some really interesting things that I thought were reasons why that might be the case. That's up over on Patreon right now if you want to check that out. This video right now is about me checking out Floor's vocals and comparing from the Wacken performance to that earlier live performance. I want to see what you all are talking about because here's the thing. I was blown away by her vocals on the original one. She was next level. She was amazing. And I do have to say, I already listened through the 2013 Wacken one and it is next level, and I think it might even be a more next level vocal, but I have to really put them right next to each other to sort of see what she's doing differently, see, you know, what's happening from a technical standpoint, performance standpoint, audio mixing, production standpoint. We're going to get into it. All right, let's get going. But before that, let me just introduce myself. My name's Tim. I've been a vocal coach for the last 25 years. Building voices is my life's work. I have an amazing team of teachers that teach with me around the Manhattan, tri-state, Philadelphia area. We do in-person lessons around here, but we have students online all over the world. So if you need a teacher, hit us up. Link down in the description also to my Patreon community where you can see my first listen through to the Wacken performance over there. That's generally how I'm doing things now. I'm doing a more uncut listen through over on Patreon because then I don't hit all the copyright stuff over here on YouTube. And then on YouTube, I do a more stop-start deep dive analysis of what I'm doing. So if you're looking for those long listen throughs where it's not interrupted and you just get to like stare at my eyebrows, if you want that, then come on over to Patreon. But here we're going to be stopping and starting a lot. All right, let's go. So the first thing we're going to do is listen to the original live performance and get a baseline for what her vocals were there and then jump over to the Wacken. Here we go. This is the original. Oh, so good. All right, so far. So right now she's in a mix. She doesn't have a lot of space in the back of her throat. She's not in her open throat operatic sound yet. She's got sort of a high larynx, lateral vowels. She's got a little bit of chest voice mix in the bottom, more notes of it, sort of on the bottom parts, a little bit brassier. Whenever we say it's more chest voicey, that means there's more metal in the voice, more bop bop, more trumpetiness. She does have a little bit of that trumpety element in her tone, but she has more dominantly the fluty part of her voice. That's called CT dominance, cricothyroid dominance. I'm not going to nerd out too much, I promise. But when it gets windy, they say CT dominant in voice pedagogy. And she's a little bit more CT dominant in this part of the song here. All right, let's go over and check out her performance up to this point in the Wacken. It's different. How is it different? Let's. Interesting. That little da 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 da. That little da, that little half step there. I didn't catch that when I listened to it the first time. So the original one, it's not quite as clear and crisp of a mix as it is in the Wacken one as far as her vocals are concerned. So partially, that's one thing that we're hearing different that has nothing to do with her singing. But also, her singing is a little bit brighter. It's a little bit cleaner. She has a little more chord closure. There's a little bit less of that windy, warm, sort of mysterious tone in her voice. There's a little bit more ping in her sound in the Wacken performance here. Hear that? That's pretty pingy relative to... There's a little more air release in her tone on the exits of phrases and stuff like that. By the way, I'm not saying one of these things or qualities is better than the other. Like having that wispy airflow versus not having that wispy airflow, it's a stylistic effect. It's totally cool. You could do it or not do it. And I wouldn't say one is better than the other. It's just when you let that wind in a little bit more, it makes it a little dreamier. She was a little more cutting slightly. And we're talking about subtle differences, right? This isn't majorly different, but there is a little more cut in her voice in the Wacken. But we're really talking subtleties here. I mean, really. All right, let's keep going. I want to listen. All right, let's keep going with the original live performance. This is so cool, man. All right, let's just check out that part a little bit there. More energy. So there's, again, a little bit more chord closure, a little more thickening, a little more brass in her tone, a little less wispy and airflowy, but not a lot. Like, noticeable amount, but not like dramatically different. Interesting. Let's keep going. I love that. Look at what was that? Hold on, I have to go back now. He distracted me. Got really bright vowels here. She's in that mix again. It's kind of almost like a 50-50 mix between metal and wind. It's like right in the middle. It's got a little bit of metal in it, a little bit of wind. Beautiful. Wow. You know, all right. Gorgeous. See, wrong version. What do you mean? That was amazing. Oh my God, that was amazing. All right. They're all the right version, right? Let's face it. All right, let's check it out now. Brighter. She has more TA dominance in her singing in the Wacken performance. That's a big part of it so far. TA is the thyroarytenoid muscle. And in voice pedagogy, it's like the thickener muscle on the cricothyroid, which is that tendon thing which stretches to change pitch. Like that. The thyroarytenoid muscle, when you activate it, your voice takes on more metal. But it's on a spectrum how much of that's in your tone. You can go really back and forth with a lot, and she is a master of that coordination, both in the same pitch range and also doing it from low to high. She is a real shapeshifter. She's good at like covering her tones like an opera singer, but not too much, and then coming out of it into a contemporary, more oral cavity space posture, and then back to the more covered operatic tone. Masterful stuff. All right, here we go. Let's check out more of what she's doing here. Pointier, brighter. Yeah, you can hear more chest voice in it. Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, there's more strength in the chord closure, more brass in the tone by 15% or something. Not a crazy amount, but a noticeable amount.
A siren from the deep came to me, sang my name, I love it.
How much before the Wacken one was this? Oh, this was all pretty close. Wait, from 2012. All right, so it was like, what, a few months or a year or so before? Is that right? Interesting. So this was all pretty new, early stuff for her.
Still I write my songs about the dream of mine, worth everything I may ever be. The child will be born again, that siren carried him to me.
See, this is that part where I talked about it's very musical theater type of singing here, like contemporary musical theater. And the only thing the reason it is because it's kind of mixy. It's in like a little bit of metal, a little bit of wind, lots of lateral bright vowels, not a lot of back throat internal space. And then she doesn't have compression activated, which she does later on in the song. So this just has this clean kind of almost theatrical sound. It's not quite theatrical as much because she's not articulating maybe as much as a theater singer would, but I mean, I guess you could say theater singers articulate this much too. It's triggering my contemporary musical theater vocal production ears here a little bit. And I don't bring that up to like, well, stop talking about style. We don't need to talk about style. Just enjoy the music. No, I mean, my job is a voice teacher, so I'm going to break down the styles and for learning so we can understand, because it's through stylistic diversity that we explore our paintbrushes. Each set of vocal coordinations that we use within a style are like vocal paintbrushes that then you can spread between songs and styles and make art with. So it's good to talk about style. Style is important to point out, by the way. All right, let's hear that part. Let's hear that part over here.
Siren from the deep came to me, sang my name, I love you. Still I write my song.
Very similar to the other one here.
About the dream of mine, worth
That's different. It's bigger. So she's saying bigger. Part of the reason that I think people like this one better is because she's got a little more energetic commitment, a little more bite in her sound in general. Just everything's just kind of amped up like 15% or something, you know, a little more bite. And a part of that also is the capture of the audio being a little bit better. It's a little bit crisper of a recording and production as far as the audio that we're seeing with this video all the way across the board.
Again, that siren carried him to me. First of them true loves, sitting on the shoulder.
That's that mix I was talking about. This is different. Okay. She didn't get quite as bright and brassy in the original one there as she did at the end. Again, that's kind of been the theme that we're finding here. I want to hear that last note there. Now she's mixier. Yeah, she was lighter a little bit. Yeah, she was definitely bitier and brassier. Hear that? Bop, bop. She's more metal. So when I break down vocal technique, here, okay, look over on this screen right here. We've got grit, metal, wind. These are the primary things that we look at. This is my tone quality triangle. These are the primary things we look at when we're breaking down a tone. What's somebody doing? There are a couple other controls too, but grit, how much grit does she have? Not so much. She starts to get a little bit squeezier toward the end of this phrase here. Metal. She's got a lot of metal in her voice in the end of the Wacken of this phrase right here. But in the live performance of the original one, she doesn't have as much brass in this part of the song. And the wind is over here. Yeah, she has a little more of the wind in the original live than she does in the Wacken performance in this part. Let's check that part out again. Listen. See? That's more metal, that's more brassy, that's more trumpety than she does here. See? That's a little more airflowy in the mix, a little more warm. It's not purely airflowy, it still has brass element in it, it still has cut, but just not as much as she had in the Wacken, by like 15%. See, that's more. So, I think this is one of the big reasons why you all like this performance better. I think that quality difference in her vocal performance is one part of it. Again, also with the production of the track, too. All right, let's keep going. Very bright. All right, so right there, she's in her brass element. She's in the metal of her tone. She doesn't have a ton of open back throat space. She has a lot of front mouth oral cavity space, but she's not like, oh, open in the back of her throat in the way that an opera singer would be. She doesn't have a ton of grit here. And we get grit through the act of compression, which is cinching the pharynx. You kind of cinch the upper back of your throat. She's not doing that very much here, but she is doing it a little bit, which gives it a little bit of a squeezy angstiness to the tone, but not a lot. Like, she's not full on like she is going to be later on in the song. There's definitely punch, definitely brass in this one. And again, that was the original live one. That wasn't the Wacken one. Now we're going to go check out the Wacken performance of that same section right now. Whoa. Wow. It's different. All right, so what's different? Grit, metal, wind, right? Which one of these three did she just activate more of there? The grit. She started to get the distorted tones that we get through compression, which is the act of cinching the pharynx. You bring in the false vocal folds into the stream of air, and they start vibrating in the tone. Yeah, they start doing that. In an extreme case, it's a growl. At a low-level case, you just have these little extra vibrations in your tone when you're holding notes. That's where we're at right now with this. That's a difference. More grit, more badass, more pressing, more bite in her tone. That's kind of been a theme, and that's a theme of the whole Wacken one. It's just more badass. Take me, bring me home. Yeah. Wow. Goosebumps again. All right, there you go. So you can say, that squeeze, that bite. It is different. It's bigger. All right, so now we're hearing some grit in the original live one here. We're hearing some growly stuff there at the start. Da-da-da! Like, do you notice that right there? So she's doing it here. Hey! Also, her vocal is just a little set front more in the Wacken performance than it is in this one. It's a little more fronted, so that also helps us pick out some of this detail work. But I still am standing by my feeling that she's a little brighter, a little punchier, a little grittier in the Wacken performance. But she did definitely get more gritty and punchy there relative to what she was doing before in the original live performance. Now let's head over to the Wacken and check out the next part here. So one, I was doing some counting here. Hold on, I want to see if I can get. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so that's what that is. Finally figured that out. Okay, we're back to the original live version for this last section here. Yeah. Amazing. Oh, that part! That part blew me away the first time I heard it. Yeah! All right. So her vocals are a little bit more buried here behind the distorted guitars in this track relative to the same moment, I think. Let me just check that. I guess it's kind of the same. Her vocals are a little more buried in this part, for it seems like, for both of the tracks. I thought maybe it was a little bit more in the Wacken. But yeah, the vocals are set back here. When this is, it's kind of like layered more in the tapestry of the excitement of all of the, the track is growing and building. And that's not uncommon. If the vocals are too far out in front in a moment when it's getting really intense, then it kind of diminishes the excitement, because the voice needs to be baked properly into the track for it to feel like all the things are going to hit for us right. So, I mean, it's good that the vocals are back a little bit here, I think. Except that I can't really understand the words, and that's a sign that you've gone a little too far with it, I think. And that may be a criticism of the final mix of this live performance from both of the recordings we're listening to here. Yeah. Oh, it's so exciting. It's more intense, this version. Clean. I appreciate her just standing there singing and not doing a million different things, because that's what it takes to do this type of vocal sound. You need to be stable in your body. And that's why sometimes when I see people dancing around holding a note that's perfectly clean, it makes me go, what's going on here? Because you need that stability in your body to do stuff like this. Wow. So I don't know if that's better than this one over here, though. The mix is cleaner. It's easier to hear that brassy note when she comes in here at the end. But I don't know if it was necessarily a better vocal by her. I think they both were maybe like 10 out of 10s here. That was the original we just listened to right there. Now let's go back over to the Wacken and hear that note again. They're both... I don't think there's a difference in her vocal performance on the last note from the Wacken to the original. I think that they both were 10 out of 10 high notes. Like, the pitch accuracy is solid. The amount of brassy punchiness in the tone was the same between both of them. It just, the Wacken recording feels like it captured it a little more clearly, which I would say that's my overall note in the difference between these recordings is just, it's crisper. There's more bite, there's more punch. And, you know, I kind of went through and compared some of the differences and how the guitars sound different and some of the band things that I noticed when I listened through it over on Patreon when I did a sort of comparative listen through over there. So this one was focusing on Floor's vocals, and wow, how fun was that? Like, oh, man, this may be a thing that I need to start doing where I do a deep dive comparative analysis of artists performing the same song from different shows. Because it's really interesting to see how there are these subtle little differences in things, both from the way that it's produced for the YouTube video as well as in the way that they perform subtly different. You know, there's a lot to learn there. And if you're a fan of it, it gives you a deeper, richer sort of understanding of it. So when, you know, you're hanging out with your friends, hanging out with your Nightwish friends, you can say, no, actually, this performance has a bit more of an upper end EQ in it, which is making it more interesting and exciting to our ears. You know, like you can pull out and nerd out with them a little bit on some audio stuff. That's one of my goals with doing this channel is I want to give you some fun musical tools that you can nerd out with your friends and impress them. So anyway, all right. Thanks for watching that. That was fun. If you want to check out, like I said, the first listen through I did to the Wacken performance, you want to see my face react to it for the first time, come on over to the Patreon. More to come from Nightwish. Let me know what I should check out of theirs next. Super fun, super exciting to break down this band. They are fascinating. She's fascinating. They're all fascinating. All right. Thanks. I'll see you in my next video. Cheers.